Welcome to Bibarel Turbo, a Desert Thug featuring a new Krookodile from Silver Tempest with the Bully of the Sands ability. To discard a random card from your opponent's hand. As you evolve this Pokemon from your hand, you also get to discard another random card from your opponent's hand if this Pokemon is knocked out in the active spot by damage from opponent's attack. It can also do double H for 1 Darkness and 2 Colorless, hitting 160 damage plus 30 damage recoil. So I'm playing this card with the old Spirit Mask from Evolving Skies, giving us an extra discard each time our opponent damages our Krookodile with this tool card attached. We also have our Misfortune Sisters for the extra disruption, discarding any items from the top 5 cards of our opponent's deck. Next, with our Jynx to finish off the knockout against VSTAR or even VMAX Pokemons with Psychic Assault, doing 10 more damage for each damage on your opponent's active Pokemon, plus 10 base for 2 colorless. It also has the Selfish Lips ability, preventing your opponent from drawing any prize cards if this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from your opponent's Pokemon V's attacks. For the draw support, we have 2 Snorlax, 1 Bibarel, 1 Marnie, 1 Bruno, 1 Avery, 1 Bird Keeper, and 1 Serena. We also have our regular setup cards with 4 rare candies, 3 incense, and 2 Ultra Balls for the Stage 2 evolution. To recycle our Pokemon, energy, and supporter cards, we're playing 2 Rods and 1 Pal Pad. For the energy acceleration, we have 1 Dark Patch and 1 Raihan. We also have 1 Path to the Peak to shut down Roblox abilities, 1 Boss's Order for the Sharp Power Play, 4 Twin, 1 Capture, and 5 basic Darkness energy. Another variation of this deck replaces a Spirit Mask with an Emergency Jelly to prevent our Krookodile from knocking itself out with recoil damage while attacking with Double Edge, which would essentially deny us the extra discard with its Bully of the Sands ability. So that's all for the deck list, now let's go for some gameplay! Okay, let's go with our first game versus Wailord. The new Wailord from Silver Tempest, which is tanking a lot of damage. It has 200 HP with an ability that reduces damage done to it by 30. It can also make use of V-Guard energy and the old Pot Helmet, which actually reduces damage done by 30 more if you attach it to your, it is a tool card, which actually only works for non-rule box Pokemon. So if you attach it to your V Pokemon, it's not going to do anything. Full Face Guard only reduces by 20, and it only works for a Pokemon that has no abilities. Now we have Pot Helmet for non-rule box Pokemon, which actually is the perfect combo for your Wailord. So you are reducing 60 damage done to Wailord. So essentially, your opponent would need 260 damage without the V-Guard. If you don't have a V-Guard attached, if you only have the Pot Helmet, they would need 260 damage to kill off your Wailord with 1 hit. If you have the V-Guard, they need 290 damage, which is crazy. 290 damage to kill off a 1-prize Pokemon. Isn't that insane? So we got our Emergency Jelly on the first turn. They are doing 240 damage though, unfortunately, so I don't think we can avoid the knockout. For some reason, if you're playing a Krookodile deck, your opponent can actually choose not to kill you. So if they play like a Dracozolt or a Stunfisk V, well, for standard meta, it's more common for them to play Dracozolt. So if they play Dracozolt VMAX, they can actually do 60 damage on your Krookodile, for example, and then force you to knock yourself out by doing damage to their VMAX on the next turn. If you damage the VMAX, you actually have to take 12 damage counter recoil because of the Spark Trap effect, and that means you are killing yourself, and that means you don't actually get to punish your opponent with your ability. So the ability doesn't work if you are knocked out with anything but damage from an attack. Your opponent has to knock you out with damage from their attack for you to be able to use Bully of the Sands to discard their hand for the additional 1 extra discard. We also have our Spirit Mask, by the way. So Spirit Mask is kind of the perfect combo. I prefer adding like 2 copies of Spirit Mask. That's why the final list has 2 copies. I don't like Emergency Jelly just because normally your opponent would be able to knock out your Stage 2 Pokemon with 1 hit. It's only 160 HP anyways. So Charizard, you know, normal Stage 2 Pokemons, even a Grimmsnarl from Single Strike. Well, Single Strike is supposed to have a little bit more HP than normal though, because they are punishing themselves with Houndoom. So Charizard from Vivid Voltage has 170 HP, which is crazy. And Krookodile only has 160, and it's only doing 160 damage as well. That means it can't actually kill off a Charizard with 1 hit. It definitely cannot kill a Wailord with 1 hit. Not even without the buffs, not even without the ability, because Wailord has 20 HP. You know, it has a raw 200 HP, and you are reducing damage as well. So they have Frosmoth for the energy acceleration, they got Bibarel for the draw engine, and they even have Greninja. So I don't think Bibarel qualifies alone. If you have Bibarel only in your deck, if you only have that one, if you only have Bibarel as your draw support, I don't think it qualifies. You need something else like a Snorlax or Radiant Greninja, Radiant Venusaur, in addition to the Bibarel. Even if you are playing 4 copies or even 3 copies, it's still not enough, unfortunately, because the Stage 1 is kind of a bit too late by the time you evolve. you can actually pick back up. You can, you know, compensate for the turn that you wasted. If you didn't draw on your first turn, you can still draw back those cards. You can draw even more on your next turn by having like 2 or 3 Bibarels on the next turn evolve with your Arezu or Incense Ultra Ball. It's quite easy to pull that off, but I prefer doing Snorlax just because you can do it on your first turn, and even if you get Marnie, you would get something else. You know, you would be able to race through the deck and, you know what you have inside the deck, and also be able to manage the deck well because you know what's at the bottom, you know what you have in your hand, you know how to manage it better than if you have no cards in your hand and you don't know what you have inside the deck. Like, it would be quite terrible if you can't draw a single thing going first or going second on your first turn. You should be able to do Snorlax. If you have it in your deck, you should be able to do Gormandize. If you can't, that means your deck don't have enough switch cards, and for this game, unfortunately, we're not able to pull that off. For some games, it's kind of impossible if you need 3 energies to attack with a stage 2 though. If your stage 2 Pokemon, if you're playing a stage 2 deck and it needs that much energy, you don't actually have that much space for switch cards anymore. So that's the reason we can't pull off our first turn Gormandize. And even if you can't, you're still okay though, just because we are playing a stage 2 and we are expected to go slow, and it's okay because we can evolve late. We just need to bench fast. All we need is a level ball, quick ball, or a VIP pass to bench our Sandiles early, and then after that, think about evolving and charging up the energy. So if you can't draw cards, it's still okay. As long as you can bench 1 or 2 Sandiles on the first turn, attach 1 energy, that's good enough, and then that actually sets you up for the, for the next turn to attack, or even to use his ability to discard your opponent's hand. Discarding may not do anything, but eventually though, it's gonna help out a lot because you are discarding their resources. If you discard, for example, their their energy or their switch cards, eventually they would run out of them, and you can actually make use of that. You can make use of them having no more switch cards to pull off a final boss to trap them, or you can pull off you can actually knock out the key Pokemons at the right time, knowing they don't have, essential attackers and not enough rods in the deck left. So that's the way you should be playing your Krookodile. If you know what you discarded, make sure you check what what they have in the discard pile every single turn. If you know what they have left in the deck, and if they don't have that many switch cards anymore, not enough rods, not enough Pal Pads, then you can actually play the game, to basically target their weak spot by focusing on their weakness. If they don't have enough supporters, you target their weakness by playing your Marnie or Avery at the right time, doing the boss at the right time, if playing the Path to the Peak or something like that. If they have not enough energies, you can play your, we don't have Crushing Hammer in this deck, unfortunately. You can do a boss. If they don't have enough attackers, you can boss something, do a Serena to kill it as well, to kill the key Pokemons, and then leave them with no attackers on the next turn. That's actually a big deal because they actually don't have enough rods to shuffle back not only the Pokemon but also the energy. Okay, here comes Wailord, jumbo size. Special Wave does 240 damage if you have a special energy attached to your Wailord, and they do have a V-Guard special energy. So they should be able to knock out our Krookodile this turn, which is a bit of a waste because if that was a Spirit Mask, we would be able to discard 2 cards from their hand. And it doesn't seem like they can get their Bibarel because they're playing triple stage 1. They got Frosmoth, which is a stage 1 Pokemon. It's a level ball card though, but you should be playing Chinchino with Frosmoth, right? Because you get to summon either the draw support or the energy XL with your level ball. They are playing Bibarel though, which means they can only get the Bibarel with their Incense or Ultra Ball. Same goes with Wailord. They can still do Irida for Wailord or Frosmoth, but Bibarel is a bit more difficult to, get into the game, and they don't actually have the Incense, which is good news. They may actually have drawn it from the prize though on the last turn, so let's hope we discard something useful with our Krookodile for this turn. We are discarding with Rare Candy. So if they're playing a 1 prize deck, normally every single card they have in their deck is like very, very important. Like, you cannot actually waste any single copy of your resources, especially if you're playing a stage 2. So if they're playing a stage 2 deck, we would be able to win quite easily if we discard the right cards at the right time. Even if we don't, we can actually play the game well if we know what we discarded with our ability, if we know what they have, you know, if we know that they don't have enough of that resource, then we can actually target that. I'm repeating myself, but that's very important because we actually are able to not just discard key cards or like discard random cards, but we also can make use of that ability to strategize and win the game in a different way. So this is a very fun darkness deck. We are kind of being very diabolical by discarding our opponent's hand, and both players have no idea what card is going to get discarded. So it's a very fun, it's a very cool, iffy card to be playing, a high risk card. So we have 4 Sandiles in this deck. I don't think we should be shuffling back the Sandile. I'm not too sure now. Do we have 3 copies of Sandile or 4? I'm not too sure actually. Maybe 3 because we have a heavy ball. I don't think we have 4 because we have a heavy ball, so we should be having 3 copies for the final list. I think 3 is enough since we have heavy ball and 2 rods to shuffle them back. I don't think we need 4. So here comes... We didn't get our Twin Energy, unfortunately. I was thinking of doing Double Edge and then collecting the knockout with our Jynx, but that actually is not enough. I didn't realize that Double Edge is only doing 100 damage. I thought it's doing 130 at least, because we are not playing a V Pokemon. V-Guard Energy doesn't work against one prize, but they do have a Pot Helmet which actually works against anything, any other attackers. So that means they are reducing damage done by their opponent by 60 damage. That means we are doing 60 less damage with Double Edge, and 110 damage on next turn is not enough with Jynx. And not only that, Jynx is not just doing 110 damage, Jynx is actually doing much less because it is also getting its damage reduced. So we're only doing 100 damage on this turn. We're going to do it right now. We finally got our Twin Energy, which is pretty frustrating because for a Stage 2 deck, you should be getting it out early. If you don't get your Twin Energy, you're screwed. Normally you will be getting it quite easily. I played a Politoed deck. I played a lot of Stage 2 decks for Lost Origin and also Silver Tempest. Normally you would be able to get your Twin Energy quite easily if you're doing a Twin Energy deck. If they don't give you the Twin Energy though, you would eventually, if you don't get it after drawing a lot of cards into your hand, you would normally get it on your next turn from the top deck. So that's how Stage 2 decks work. They normally give you your Twin Energy early. If they don't, then they're gonna kind of compensate for it by giving you the fast energy on the next turn. So Double Edge hits only 100 damage, and then Psychic Assault is doing like 40 damage on the next turn, which is horrible. Not enough to kill off the Wailord, definitely. We need like 3 or even 4 hits to kill off the Wailord if we can evolve and charge up the next Krookodile. If we can attack with another Double Edge, we can actually knock it out with a Jynx after that. So we have like 200 damage in the game, and that means Jynx is doing 210 damage minus 60. That would be like 150 damage, which would be more than enough to kill off the Wailord. But they may just play something like, Honey or Lucky Ice Pop, Scoop Up Net, whatever. So that's why they have a Nessa, I guess. They actually have Nessa, and we discarded Nessa with our ability. They discarded 1 copy with their research early game, so I don't think they have that many Nessas or Rods anymore. So we should be focusing on how many cards they have left, and apparently they're not playing that many Wailords. Apparently they're trying to cycle back the Wailord and possibly playing Scoop Up Net to recover all damage from it and denying our opponent from drawing any prize cards, because they can quite easily do a Nessa after scooping up their Pokemon and then putting Frosmoth in the active. They can reattach those energy onto the bench onto the bench Wailord or Wailmer, and then re-evolve it, retreat, and attack again, doing Special Wave for 240 damage while tanking insane amount of damage with your next Wailord, with another Wailord, which is crazy, isn't it? A Wailord loop. 1 prize tank. Jumbo sized. Okay, here comes Avery. We did not manage to discard anything from their bench. Apparently, they're not playing that many Pokemons. So we actually got Krookodile, but no Rare Candy, no Twin Energy, no Darkness. We got quite a shitty hand right now. I'm not proud. I'm not happy with this hand. We should have actually evolved into the Krokorok and then done our dredge up But we don't actually have the Krokorok though. We did a Raihan. If we did a Krokorok though, we would be able to discard extra cards from the deck. But I didn't realize it until until later in the game that we could actually do Dredge Up to win the game. I was trying to kill off at least one Wailord because they don't actually have a Wailmer on the bench. I was like expecting them, because we discarded a lot of Nessas and Rods, so I was expecting maybe they're not playing that many Wailords, so we could actually win the game by killing this Wailord and do a boss on a Wailmer before it evolves. But I think the best way to win is actually decking them out, because they have 10 cards left in the deck, and we can actually do that with our Dredge Up. So Sandile has the Dredge Up attack. Same goes for Krokorok, which is the stage 1. They both have the Dredge Up attack, which allows you to discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck for 4 energies for the basic. For Krokorok, it only costs 3 energy, 3 colorless for the same attack. So if you play Memory Capsule, you can actually use Krokorok's attack with your Krookodile. Memory Capsule with Krookodile, I thought about that, but eventually decided against it because Spirit Mask actually does more disruption. And if you want to attack with your Dredge Up, might as well just, not evolve into the stage 2. If you discard their hand while doing Dredge Up though, you're forcing them to kill off your active, and that means you are discarding their hand as well. And you get to avoid the damage recoil, which is kind of perfect though. I would prefer playing Memory Capsule to do Dredge Up more times with our Krookodile. Krookodile, Memory Capsule, Dredge Up is a really good combo, but I don't think it's that powerful because you're only discarding 3 cards from the top card of your opponent's deck. 3 cards is not a lot, and even if you're doing a lot of Misfortune Sisters, you still need 3 energies. 3 energies, which is the same amount of energy you need for a double edge. And if you need that much energy, you would need a lot of Dark Patch, Raihan, Twin Energies, and you can't actually pull off that many copies of Misfortune Sisters. You can't pull off your, Curse Shovel, obviously, just because you have your Memory Capsule attached. You cannot actually play Curse Shovel, and you can't actually play your other, disruptions as well. No Crushing Hammer, no Galar Mine, just because you have no space for it. You need your tool card, you need your Misfortune Sister, you need a stage 2, you need so many energies, you need so many ways of getting enough energy in the game, and you need the rare candies as well. It is a lot that you need to juggle. I don't think there's I don't think it works. Dredge Up with, I've tried it. I didn't actually try the Memory Capsule, but I've tried like focusing on discards instead of attacking, and it doesn't actually work that well unless, unless your opponent has very few cards left in the deck. Then you can actually switch up the strategy. You can switch down, you can, basically turn back and do a deck discard instead of attacking for the win. So we can switch our strategy at the last minute if they have very few cards left in the deck. And here's what we're gonna do. We actually did do it right on this turn. We did a boss on a Wailmer. So if you're playing a boss, make sure you boss the right Pokemon, because even if they don't have switches, they can still do the retreat. We have no Galar Mine. They can still do like 2 energy for the retreat, or 1 energy at a time. We have 5 prize cards remaining, so we actually need a couple turns. They have 5 cards left. 5 cards left in the deck, and they may do a Rod at some point, so we never know what's gonna happen. So it's actually better to boss the Wailmer right now, because Wailord, even if they evolve into another Wailord, they need 4 energies to attack for their second Wailord. I don't think they can retreat or attack with it that easily, so we should be bossing the Wailmer instead of the Bibarel. And even if they have a Air Balloon on the Wailmer, it doesn't work. They still need 2 energies on it to retreat. If they do Air Balloon on the Bibarel, they can retreat already, so I think it's just smarter to do a Wailmer, even though we know they are attacking with the Wailord. Frosmoth only attaches to Pokemon on the bench. That means they can't actually use Ice Dance on the active Wailmer. Ice Dance doesn't work on active Water-type Pokemons. So always be aware of Greninja. If they have Greninja with a Lost Box or a Frosmoth in play, make sure you bench that Manaphy. Like, Greninja is crazy. You never know when it's gonna strike, you never know what's gonna happen. It can just do a sudden double kill, a sudden 2 prize draw, and win the game by, speeding through the game and getting extra prizes. Moonlight Shuriken is just crazy. Not only that, they can actually deny you from evolving. If they kill the right Pokemons, they can, basically force you to get stuck for 1 turn. If you have not enough if you don't have a Sandile on the next turn, for example, or a Krokorok on your bench, you cannot actually evolve or attack or do anything. So Manaphy is very, very important. Make sure you get it out at the right time. We do have that heavy ball to get it out from the prize if it's stuck there. We only are playing one copy though, so if they lost it, we can't actually do anything about it. But every deck has its weakness, I guess. Okay, they have 5 cards left in the deck. They actually did a Rod. Unfortunately. I think they did a Boss as well. Oh, no. I don't think we have enough energies. We didn't have enough energy to do the Dredge Up. So we did not discard our opponent's deck on the last turn, but we're going to do it right now. We did Snorlax instead to draw cards. But we are trapping them in the active though. So let's hope we buy enough time for us to do enough discards. I'm pretty sure we just need 2 turns. We just need 2 turns of using that special attack, discarding 3 cards from our opponent's deck. And we win the game. Unless if they pull off another Rod. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, we're going to retrieve the energy just to be safe and do Dredge Up right now. Here we go. Bam. Okay. Can they switch this turn? If they can switch or Rod, then they may be able to save themselves. So this is quite interesting because they have 2 cards left. Two cards left in the prize. And 3 cards left in the deck. So this is the final hour and the final countdown. Who's gonna win? Wailord is not doing enough damage. I don't actually know what this second attack is. It has like a 3 energy attack that does maybe 80 damage. So they could possibly kill us on the next turn. But if they don't, recycle, if they didn't play another Rod, they're done for, which they didn't, and we just won the game. So they have to play either a Recycler or a Rod to save themselves for an extra turn. And if they do that, they can knock out the Krokorok on the next turn. But I don't think that would be enough even. We just need 2 more turns to win the game. We can actually tank with the Snorlax. If they don't have a Wailord in their hand and an energy, they have the training cord though. They can get the energy quite easily. They probably have a Wailord in their hand as well. So I would say if they can kill the Krokorok, they may be able to win the game by drawing the final prize after evolving into the Wailord. Okay, right now we're up against a Psychic Metal Box. They're playing a Mew VMAX with Genesect. Psychic Metal Box. So we have the advantage obviously because we are playing a Darkness type. We have the weakness advantage. And we should be able to win if they don't play Oricorio because we're only doing 160 damage without Choice Belt. That's not actually enough to kill out the Mew if they have Oricorio on the bench. Okay, we have 1 path to the peak which could help us buy some time against Genesect because they are drawing with V ability, with a rule box ability, and we are blocking off their Pokemon Vs from using ability. And they got ahead. They're gonna do VIP pass right now. Annoying. Cremomatic is like the most annoying card ever. They did a double turbo though. They didn't get a VIP pass. What? They did not get a VIP pass. Why? That's like weird. Okay, we're gonna do Marnie right now. If we do a Bird Keeper, they would switch to the next turn and kill us. So we kind of have no choice but to do a Marnie. We did not get an energy though. We got nothing, which is quite depressing. We have no energies, no Snorlax, but we can actually search for the Snorlax with our Quick Ball. We should be getting our Bidoof though. If we get the Bidoof, we can Ultra Ball for the Bibarel, but we actually have to wait another turn though, because we are discarding If we want to play the path right now, we are emptying our hand except for that one Ultra Ball, and that means we need to wait 2 turns before we're able to use Bibarel's ability. We don't have a choice, we have to discard the Rare Candy. We have 4 copies of Rare Candy in this deck, so I don't think it's too bad. When you get stuck with the Rare Candy discard on the first turn, it should be okay. You have no choice. If you want to discard a stage 2, I think it's better to go for that rather than discarding a Rare Candy, because we have rods to shuffle back our stage 2 Krookodile, but we have no way of shuffling back our Rare Candies. So make sure you choose the discards wisely. What you discard is going to count a lot, because we are forced to discard a lot of things with Quick Ball and Ultra Ball just to draw cards with Bibarel as well. We can actually discard for Snorlax to draw more. Okay, here comes Double Turbo and Max Miracle. My bad. Cross Fusion Strike. They can't use Max Miracle. They need another Mew VMAX on the bench. Double Turbo is a bit weird. They should be doing Elisa. Double Turbo is reducing damage done by a lot. If they do Elisa though, they need Psychic Energy, Basic Psychic, which isn't really that bad. Because you're not only guarding yourself from abilities, you're also able to hit Duraludon. If you play Basic Psychic Energies, you can do Path to the Peak to hit Duraludon, but it's gonna shut down your own draw system. So you can't actually play it at the right time. You're gonna have to keep it in your hand, which is not gonna be that helpful, because you are forced to draw less cards with Genesect if you keep that Stadium in your hand to play it later on in the game. The minute you play Path to the Peak, you are not able to use Genesect's ability. So it's very tricky to play Mew VMAX with Path, but it's still possible. It's still, it's still very much viable, but it's just very, very tricky to play, and I would prefer not adding a Path. I would prefer just adding other Stadium cards, honestly. If you want to hit Duraludon, just, I don't know, just do Max Miracle, I guess. Max Miracle and then play a Jynx. Jynx needs Twin Energy though. So Twin Energy Double Turbo doesn't work against Duraludon. If you don't play a Path, you can't hit Duraludon. I think you need Basic Psychic. Elisa doesn't work, Double Turbo doesn't work, so you need to attach 1 energy at a time just to hit a Duraludon VMAX, which is crazy. I don't think Mew can win a Duraludon VMAX. Not unless if they do Arceus with Duraludon. We got another Sandile, and we're gonna draw 5 cards. Finally got the Rare Candy Evolution. We got the Rare Candy but did not get the Stage 2, and now we can finally do it on the next turn. They can still pull off a Marnie though, but normally Mew VMAX decks has no Marnie. They are notorious for playing, Research or cards like that. I'm not sure if they have a Research. I don't really know what they are playing though. Mew VMAX decks, Elisa, more items, Peony for Genesect is perfect. Avery, I guess. Mew VMAX decks play a lot of Avery, so we should actually watch out for that. Avery is gonna help them against one price decks, which is the main weakness for Mew VMAX. Because it is doing a lot of damage, but it's not actually doing a spread. It's not dropping a lot of prizes against one price. Turn after turn, you're forced to slow down your game, and if your opponent draws 3 prize in a turn, or even 3 prize in 2 turns, is gonna be really bad for your Mew VMAX deck. You're gonna be that much slower in the game, and it's gonna be more likely for you to lose. Okay, here comes our Krookodile. We got our first knockout, and they got no Mew on the bench. They have Meloetta though with Fusion Strike Energy. They got 3 more copies in the deck, or possibly 1 in the prize. Let's hope. If they got 1 in the prize, they can still knock us out though, because they just need 140 damage. We are doing 30 damage recoil, don't forget that. And we finally have our Spirit Mask in the active. Spirit Mask means, oh my goodness, they just punish us with Old Cemetery as well. So now they just need 100 damage to kill off, 110, my bad. They just need 110 damage to kill off our Krookodile. If they hit 100 damage, if they do 70 damage or 100 damage, for example, if they play a power tablet, they can actually hit 100 damage. So if we have 10 HP remaining on the next turn, we actually are forced to kill ourselves with the recoil damage, and that means we are not able to use Spirit Mask, that tool cards effect, or even our ability to discard extra cards from our opponent's hand. And that is a big waste. That's a huge waste because we don't want to be wasting, we don't want to be using Krookodile, making, playing a Krookodile deck without doing a discard. We only get that one discard from the evolution. We can still discard their hand by evolving it from our hand, but we want to be using it for as much discards as we can by using the tool card as well for extra discards. And they just conceded because we even killed the Gen SIT because they end up punishing themselves by attaching the energy to the Gen SIT for the retreat cost. So 160 apparently is enough to kill off the Gen SIT. They don't even have a Oricorio on a bench. So 160 plus 4 damage counters, thanks to the old cemetery, gave us another 2 prize, and that means we just need to kill the Meloetta. We got Boss, we got Serena. Serena's not helping though. If they bench a Mew on the, if they bench a Mew without evolving, then we can actually do a Boss on the next turn, or Serena, for the final 1 prize. Okay, here comes a Bibarel deck. Not really sure what they're playing. They have a lightning coin though. Not a lot of lightning decks out there, is there? Zeraora VMAX VSTAR, but there are not a lot of proper lightning Pokemons that can actually be qualified as top tier. Regieleki VMAX, I don't know, it just doesn't really do much. I guess the obvious combo is Vikavolt, and the one that everyone's been playing, Vikavolt V with Regieleki, like, it's kind of lame. Item lock for a lot of damage. You can actually do Choice Belt as well for up to 140 damage or more, 170 damage if you have 3 Elekis on the bench, or Zapdoses as well. You can play Eleki with Zapdos. Even though you're doing only 10 plus damage with the Pokemon Go Zapdos, you are at least allowed to play them without evolving. For Eleki VMAX, you actually need to evolve to activate the ability. If you get Boss, if the Eleki get Boss knocked out, your opponent is drawing 3 prizes, so it's not that wise to play that many Elekis without enough Ponchos. If you play Eleki, you better be playing enough Ponchos. So Leafy Camo Poncho is preventing your opponent from playing a Boss. If they do any supporter cards like Team Yell Grunt as well, Team Yell Grunt, I'm not sure what other supporter cards affects Pokemon on the bench. If they play any other supporter cards on your VMAX or VSTAR with that tool card attached, you get to ignore all effects of those supporter cards. So that means Boss doesn't work, and Eleki is doing helping your Vikavolt doing 30 extra damage. That means if you have 2 Eleki, 2 Zapdos, and 1 Choice Belt, you're doing like 110 more damage, and that's actually enough to kill a VMAX with 2 hits. You can kill a VMAX with only 2 energies on your Vikavolt, doing Paralyzing Bolt for an item lock effect, plus a double a 2-hit knockout, which is crazy, isn't it? That means they can't actually play heal cards, they can't play, Lucky Ice Pop, Honey. They can play Cheryl though, because it's a sport card. They can't play, for Blissey, they can't play Hyper Potion, they can't play, Team Yell Towel, Potion Mumuchi, stuff like that. They can't do a lot of things. They can't evolve with the Rare Candy, they can't search their deck with Capacious Bucket, they can't do Shady Dealings that easily with Level Ball. So it's a lot, isn't it? Like, early, especially if you can do it early, first turn item lock is crazy. If you can Melanie for a first turn item lock going second, that would be insane. Because that means they can't do Incense on the next turn. They can't actually play switches, they can't play a lot of things, they can't attach tool cards. It's insane. And there's no way you can get past that effect though. The only way is to kill off the Vikavolt. There's no cards that, erases all effects of opponent's effects. There used to be a Channeler and Pokemon Ranger for expanded, Channeler for Sun and Moon standard. which actually removes all effects, you know, it erases all effects on the player, on you as a player. That means if your opponent does a Whimsicott, I'm not sure if it works that way. I'm pretty sure though, if they play Whimsicott to deny you, or even a Shadow Rider V, if they deny you from attaching your special energy or playing a stadium card with effects of attacks, that means if you play a Channeler in expanded format, you can actually play those cards even after they use those attacks, even with those effects activated, because you're essentially nullifying those effects with your support card. Okay, we got our first double edge in the game. They are playing Jumpluff though. Jumpluff with Zeraora and Sealstone. So Earth and Sealstone with Zeraora, or any Rapid Strike card for that matter, is crazy. Or any spread decks like Jolteon. It's just insane, isn't it? So Earth and Sealstone is actually hitting only V Pokemons. But if you're playing against one price, I don't think you need the Seal, because they normally have less than 200 HP. So you should be able to kill them off with your Jumpluff and the, what's it called again? Rapid Strike Scroll of Swirls. But I don't think you get to play that many cards though. I don't think you get to play the Scroll and the Zera and a Flaffy. That's just way too many things going on. I think Flaffy makes sense, because you actually need 3 energy for the Scroll. But Zeraora, I don't think you have the space for that if you want to do Matchless Maelstrom with it. I would rather focus on nothing but Jumpluff. Or like nothing but Zeraora with the Sealstone. You can actually play Zeraora VSTAR with the Sealstone, which would be crazy. Like, because you are able to choose what Pokemon to target. You can choose any Pokemon 4 times, I think, and do 60 damage to each of those Pokemons. And you can even choose the same Pokemon twice. So that means you can do 120 damage to 2 Pokemons, if you choose to. Okay, we got our Misfortune Sister to discard the Level Ball. We're gonna play Bibarel right now. We were expecting to discard a Tool card, but unfortunately we only discarded a Ball. But that could actually help us in the long run though, because they are playing that many Pokemons and they don't have a Flaffy in the game yet. So let's hope that helps us in the long run. They only have one Jumpluff and they actually need Octillery to get something. They should be playing the Matchless Maelstrom this turn, but I'm not sure why they didn't do it. They definitely should be doing it right now. Oh, we have a Manaphy. We actually benched the Manaphy already. So it's already too late, unfortunately. we didn't manage to pull out the Manaphy because we need, you know, enough support on the first few turns. But eventually we got it out, finally, at long last. Because we know they're playing a Rapid Strike, we know they're doing a bench snipe. So we should be benching the Manaphy early. But if we don't get our Krookodile, if we don't get enough draw support as well, if we don't get our Sandiles, enough Sandiles on the bench, we can't actually do anything on the next turn. It would be safer to get enough attackers and then think about your Manaphy later. Although if they snipe the bench though, they can actually reset your field and force you to re-bench another 2 Sandiles on the next turn, which would be pretty bad. So I think it's better to play Manaphy first, but we actually have enough space though. We have enough turns to, you know, spare, and that's the reason we actually decided to play the Manaphy late. So for this game, we have a Raiden Jirachi, and what it does is that it actually helps you draw, it actually helps you search for any 3 cards from your deck if it gets knocked out by damage. So if your opponent kills Jirachi without a Path to the Peak in play, if they don't have Path to the Peak, you actually are allowed to search for any 3 cards. That means you can evolve your Bibarel, you can search for Dark Patch, you can do Raihan, you can do anything with that triple search. So Jirachi is actually really good as a draw support right now. Not a draw support, but you know, something to get your system running, something to get to give your one price deck momentum, a head start by sacrificing that first prize. You do have to sacrifice the first prize though, unfortunately, because you are flipping coins. Even if you are playing Twin Energy in your deck, you are forced to flip the coin with Jirachi's attack. That means you may not get any prize with your Astro Misfortune. You may not be able to do a single knockout with Jirachi at all because you are flipping that many coins required to play. If you don't flip 2 heads in a row, you can't actually do a single knockout. So that's the bad thing about its attack, but the ability is really, really good though, unless if your opponent has a path in play. So that's why I don't like Jirachi. That's why I eventually decided to remove Jirachi from this deck, from the list. The reason being, it's not only, you know, it's not only gonna be destroyed by path, but also the attack is terrible. I would rather add more consistency cards. I would rather add more balls and, you know, VIP pass to help us set up faster than to help us, you know, than to attack with Jirachi. Because if you don't attack with Jirachi, your opponent is just gonna boss something else and target your Sandiles on the bench because they know you're playing a stage 2 deck. They know you have, you know, they know you have, you know, they know Jirachi is not your main attacker. If they know Jirachi is not meant to attack, they're probably gonna attack something else. So attacking with Jirachi is gonna waste your twin energy, and that's not good. That's not a good deal, and I don't like that. That's why I eventually decided to just scrap that card and build a full-on Krokorok with Jynx instead of Jirachi. We have Jynx to deny our opponent from drawing a prize. That means we have essentially a free attack, not only helping us finish off a VMAX or a V-STAR that we damaged on the last turn. We can also deny them from drawing a prize and buy us an extra turn to do another double edge on the next turn. And if they don't kill the Jynx, if they boss a Krokorok on the bench, for example, we just need to bench another one. We would probably have 2 on the bench though, so make sure you have 2 Sandiles on the bench, or 2, like, you know, one of each, you know, 1 Krokorok, 1 Sandile, or 1 Krookodile, 1 Krokorok, something like that. If you have 2 copies on the bench ready to evolve on the next turn, even if they do a boss, you can attack still with double edge. And we want to be doing double edge after Psychic Assault because, you know, we essentially have no damage counters on our opponent's active Pokemon or any of their Pokemon after doing Jynx for the knockout, because, you know, we need to do double edge first. If we don't do double edge first, Jynx is not going to be able to do enough damage. Psychic Assault only does more damage for each damage counter on opponent's active Pokemon. If they don't have any damage counter, it's only doing 10 base. 10 base damage for 2 colorless is terrible. Like, nobody wants to use a twin energy attack for 10 damage. Here comes Maxlance. Maxlance doing 130 damage for 1 discard and 250 for a double discard. They don't need that much. They don't need that much damage in the game, so I would expect them to discard 1. They are playing a different list for this game. They have like double turbo for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe they're playing. Maybe they're doing a Earthen Seal Stone for Ice Rider, which would be quite interesting. I've seen people play Shadow Rider with Shadow Rider with Lunala and Earthen Seal Stone, but I've never seen anyone play Ice Rider with Earthen Seal Stone. It's definitely a big card right now, Earthen Seal Stone. People are, you know, losing their minds with that new tool card and experimenting with all the different V cards. You get to use it with your Crobat, you get to use it with your Galarian Zapdos, you get to use it with your Jolteon, you get to use it with your Rapid Strike, you get to use it with Shadow Rider, you get to use it with anything, any V Pokemon. Crazy, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna do Avery right now. Force them to discard at least the Lumineon or Manaphy, which isn't really that good though, because we are giving them another extra search if they discard the Lumineon. Oh well. It works really well against One Prize, because One Prize normally has a lot of bench support. So they normally have Flaffy, Chinchino, Bibarel on the bench, or something like Reading Greninja with Manaphy, Reading Greninja with Liepard. I have no idea. Curlia the new draw support from Silver Tempest. We got Sandile in our hand. If they do a boss right now, it would be really, really ugly, because we unfortunately are not able to bench enough Sandiles. So the reason being, I don't think we have enough rods. I don't think we have enough VIP pass for this game. This game actually we only have one VIP pass, 4 level ball, 4 quick ball, and no capture. We have 1 heavy ball and 2 ultra ball to get our basic Pokemon into the game. If we don't get it on the first turn, we're not able to bench anything, and apparently for this game, that actually happened. Then that's why we eventually decided to add a capture and also an extra VIP, and to make sure that we never we never get stuck in this situation ever again. Because if we don't have a Sandile on the first turn, we can't actually do the rare candy evolution, we can't evolve, and we're done for. We have to bench Sandile on the first turn. It goes without saying. We do have 4 copies though. I think for this game we played 4 copies of the basic instead of more items. So even if you're playing 4 copies of the basic, they would normally give you more items since you're playing that many trainer cards. If you have more items than Pokemons in your deck, you would be able to, you would more likely get item cards in your first hand than Pokemons. That's why it's better to play more balls if you have less Pokemon in your deck. If you have like a Zoroark box, then you should be playing more of the basic instead of the balls. You never really know though. It really is down to debate because Zoroark box plays a lot of evolutions, and if you have that many Pokemons, including that many evolutions as well, it's kind of difficult to play an extra basic and expect it to show up in your first hand. You actually have, I kind of think you have no choice but to play more balls, because if you play an extra copy of the basic, they would just give you nothing but evolutions. You would still get your evolution on the first turn. Since you're playing that many evolution Pokemons, okay. Same goes for the items though, I guess, because if you're playing other items like Rare Candy or Switch Scuba Net, they could actually give you your Rare Candy instead of the VIP Pass. But if you play VIP with Level Ball, Quick Ball, Ultra Ball, Capture, Heavy Ball, I think it would be quite easy to get them out, right? At least one of them. If you get Heavy Ball, it would be quite ugly, because if you don't have anything prized, Heavy Ball is not going to get you anything. Heavy Ball is really, really annoying. I don't like Heavy Ball just because of that. It doesn't really work for Stage 2 decks. But sometimes you don't have a choice though. You don't actually have the luxury to choose. You have no option but to play. You have no choice but to play it, because if you're doing only 3 copies of the basic without a Heavy Ball, you may actually have it prized. You may have 2 copies prized. If you have 1 prize even, you need to get the rod out to shuffle it back over and over just to attack every single turn. If you don't shuffle immediately after they kill your first Krookodile, then you can't actually attack non-stop, right? You need either 3 copies in play, 3 Sandiles in play every single turn, or like 2 copies you need either 3 copies in alternate turns, every other turn, or like 2 copies every single turn. Okay, now we just need a Jynx or another Double Edge to knock it out. We should be doing Double Edge though. Jynx is not that easy to summon. We totally forgot about Jynx for this game, unfortunately. But it would make more sense for us to play our Twin Energy, to get the Twin Energy rather than the Jynx, because we don't even have energy for the Jynx. So Twin Energy means we can actually evolve the Krookodile. Oh, we can't actually attack this turn. We can't attack this turn. So might as well just Rare Candy evolve the next one. And then Gormandize. We're forced to wait another turn. We are very slow for this game. Reason being, we didn't get our VIP pass on the first turn. We didn't get Level Ball. We got nothing because this is kind of the bad list. One of the earlier bad lists that I started off playing when I first experimented with Krookodile and Spirit Mask. So Krookodile, Spirit Mask, and Emergency Jelly is quite fun to play. Upon afterthought, I would definitely much rather play 2 copies of Spirit Mask than one of each with the Emergency Jelly. Because the Jelly doesn't really work against the meta. If they're playing a meta deck, they would quite easily be able to kill your Stage 2 with 1 hit. Because we are doing damage to ourselves as well. If they force you to knock yourself out though, Emergency Jelly is going to do a lot. It's going to help you out. Because they can do something like a Moltres. If they play like a Charizard VSTAR, for example, they can still play the Brilliant Stars Moltres to do 90 damage and then force you to slowly kill yourself, denying you that extra hand disruption discard. Okay, here comes another Max Lance. Let's play Double Edge. We got the 2 energy, hurrah! And we're gonna do a VMAX knockout this turn. We just need 2 more strikes though. We just need 2 more hits to kill off another VMAX and we win the game. So we should be targeting a VMAX. We have one boss and 1 Serena. I don't think it should be that difficult because they have, oh my goodness, they have 2 prize remaining though. I just realized that. They have 2 prize remaining, so we should be really careful right now. Okay, we attached the Emergency Jelly. We're down to 4 cards left in our hand and no Bibarel on the bench. So we have nothing to draw cards with on the next turn. We have no supporter cards. We are stuck with nothing. Let's hope we draw a supporter from the top deck. From the prize card. We got nothing from the prize, horrible. We got the evolution though. I don't think we need anything for 1 turn. The prize cards actually save us for 1 turn. So let's hope we get something good on the next. From the top deck. If we get like a Marnie eventually, that's gonna help us draw the Jynx for the final knockout. So if they can knock us out this turn, they actually win the game though. But for some bizarre reason, Ice Rider could not attack. So this is actually one of the bad lists. This combo works really well, but the arrangement is not good. What I mean is like the number of copies of balls that we're playing is not enough. We don't have enough ways to get our basic Pokemon onto the bench early in the game, and that's the reason we got so close to losing this game. So make sure you add enough balls to your deck. Now we have an extra VIP, now we have an extra capture, and a heavy ball as well. It's going to be much more easy for you to bench at least 1 Sandile on the bench on the first turn, and that's all you need though. It's obviously better to bench 2 Sandiles because if your opponent do a boss, you can have, you can play a Raihan for the next one. Okay, we got our second Double Edge, our third one actually. Damaging a second VMAX. Slowly killing it off for the final 3 prize. We did a Rod. And now we're gonna do Quick Ball for the Bidoof. So we just need 1 more strike and we win the game. Make sure you check Krookodile's HP because you are forced to do 30 damage recoil. If it kills itself, your opponent is drawing an extra prize and they are not discarding any cards from their hand. So make sure you watch out for that. They have Vaporeon as well. Vaporeon VMAX from Evolving Skies, I think. Rapid Strike with Max Torrent. Melanie, Vaporeon, and Ice Rider. So Melanie is an Ice type Ice trainer, but you can use it for Water type Pokemon as well. We got Ultra Ball, which is grand. That means we can do our Industrious Incisor on the next turn. And that's gonna help us draw something useful. I don't think we need to draw anything else though. I think we won the game already. As long as we can retreat with the Bidoof. If they do escape rope, we should be playing our second Krookodile, because I don't think they can do a knockout. They played a Marnie, I think, already, so let's hope they don't do a Melanie. I don't think they can do a Melanie, though. They probably played a supporter card already. Okay, we benched another. There we go. We have 4 Sandiles. That's the reason we're not getting our balls. Eventually, we decided to replace that extra copy with another VIP pass. And we initially had 2 Dark Patch, though. I played 2 Dark Patch and 1 Raihan when I first built this deck. Well, 2 Raihans eventually cut down to 1, and now we only have 1 Dark Patch just because it keeps showing up early. I don't know why, but Rod and Dark Patch loves to show up way too early. Like on the first few turns, first or second turn, you would get your Dark Patch, even if you're doing 1 copy, or your Ordinary Rod. It's just very frustrating. Or your Energy Recycler for that matter. I don't know why those cards have a higher chance of showing up into your hand early in the game. I don't know whether it's just me, whether it's only my account that this is happening to, or if it's happening to everyone. It just makes no sense, because we're only playing 1 copy of the bloody Dark Patch. Only like 2 copies of the Ordinary Rod, but somehow we keep getting it on the first, on the first few turns, which is quite depressing. So if we get the boss, we win the game. We just need to be slightly smart with our gameplay right now. We can choose to discard their deck, because they have 11 cards left. But I don't think it's wise, because they just need 1 more energy to retreat with the Ice Rider in the active. Which would mean they can attack, they can collect the knockout with their VMAX on the next turn. And then they just need 1 last remaining prize to win the game. I don't think they can be attacking. If they attack with the bench VMAX, we just need 1 Jynx to win the game. Obviously, we need the Twin Energy as well, but Jynx is going to help us a lot. So Jynx is the new Farfetch. Farfetch has the Legal Ash attack, which allows you to do 10 more damage for each damage counter opponent's active Pokemon, plus 20 base. Basculin, actually, Rapid Strike Basculin does 30 base plus 10 more for each damage counter opponent's active Pokemon as well. And it has like a 1 water and 1 colorless cost, which is perfect for Rapid Strike energy. But for both Farfetch and what's it called again? Jynx, it requires 2 colorless without, the specific type. So you don't you can't actually attach Rapid Strike energy, obviously, because it's not a Rapid Strike Pokemon, but you can still do double turbo twin Raihan Raihan and Flaffy. I don't think Dark Patch works, my bad. Okay, we discarded another 1 card from their hand. And now we actually won with a second Double Edge, punishing the Ice Rider for knocking us out in the active. They should have just stayed on the bench, but I suppose they know we have a boss. I suppose they're expecting a boss. That's the reason they just put in the active anyways, which is a bit depressing, because it would be quite amazing to see us do a boss on the Shadow Rider, on the Ice Rider, and then knock it out after. That would be quite crazy. So we should actually be playing Pierre's for this deck. Pierre's gets you your evolution, it gets you your basic, it gets you your twin energy as well, or even hiding, or another basic Pokemon, or another basic energy. We are not playing hiding energy just because it doesn't really have that much value. So hiding only works for darkness Pokemon, and if you attach it to your Snorlax or any other Pokemon, it's not going to work that well. I would rather do more switch cards, or like 1 extra Marnie instead of the hiding. So hiding has no value for this deck. Unless if your opponent play cards like Hisuian Zoroark or Galarian Slowking that actually forces you to retreat on your next turn. Otherwise, you would get knocked out by effects of attacks, which would be pretty bad, because we can't actually use our ability if they actually kill us with effects of attacks. So Krookodile's Bully of the Sand ability only works if your opponent knocks you out with damage from an attack. That means you cannot actually discard your hand if they do, cards like Galarian Slowking V to knock you out with effects. So right now we're up against Rapid Strike Malamar with a very cool new card. There is a new combo from Silver Tempest, Brandon. A new supporter card, Brandon, that allows you to draw cards until, draw a number of cards equal to the number of Pokemon in play on both players' bench. and that actually allows you to replenish your hand with as many Rapid Strike cards into your hand for you to do Rapid Strike Tentacles for up to 400 damage, because you're drawing to a maximum. You have the potential of drawing 10 cards with Brandon, because you can actually have up to 10 cards on both players' bench. And that means Brandon is giving you a VMAX knockout with Malamar, is giving you a Gudra VSTAR knockout, and Malamar is super strong right now thanks to Brandon. You only get to play that supporter though. It has a condition that only allows you to play that supporter if you have no other cards in your hand, which actually fits in really nicely with Malamar, because Malamar is basically shuffling all cards back into the deck and emptying your hand until you have nothing but that one Brandon. If you can't play Brandon, you can actually play Shady for your Cynthia. So obviously don't put 4 Brandon in your deck. Play a couple Cynthias as well. So I think that's actually a very fun combo right now. Malamar with Brandon. I think I'm going to test that out. So for this matchup, is actually very interesting because we are discarding their hand. If they don't play Lucky Egg, I don't think they stand a good chance at all. Unless if they do Karina's Focus, because we are playing a 1 prize though. And we don't actually have that much HP, so they can still do Karina's Focus to win the game. If we discard the right cards from their hand, because they are shuffling cards back into the deck, essentially emptying their hand, they have 1 or 2 cards left. And if we play Krookodile, if they knock out Krookodile in the active while shuffling cards back, they actually have to discard whatever few cards they have left in their hand with our Spirit Mask's effect, and also with the ability, they are forced to discard everything. Since they have like very few cards left, they essentially would be left with nothing on the next turn. Unless if they draw that 1 prize, they may have just 1 from the prize and 1 from the top deck. But we actually get to discard another card with our Rare Candy Evolution on the next turn as well. So if they draw 1 prize, we can still discard that prize card with another Bully of the Sands. So I don't think Malamar stand a chance against Krookodile. I think we have the high advantage right there. So right now we're up against Arceus V-Star Metal Box with Duraludon VMAX. They are playing a couple of Metal V Pokemons. They got Galarian Stunfisk V, Galarian Persiaga V, Zamazenta V, and also Duraludon VMAX. So Stunfisk is very interesting because they are basically placing damage counter with effects of attacks. If we damage the Stunfisk on our next turn, we are forced to place 12 damage counter on our Krookodile, and that means we have essentially very few HP left. If we do double edge after that, we're essentially killing ourselves off. If we knock ourselves out, we can't use Bully of the Sands ability anymore. Not only that, we have Duraludon VMAX to worry about. So Duraludon is going to be a bit difficult because we only have 1 path, and we are playing special energies. We are doing Twin Energy for Jynx and also our Krookodile, obviously, our main attacking. Double Edge requires Twin Energy. If we play Dark Patch and Raihan, we're going to need to attach 3 Darkness just to attack with Double Edge, or like 2 Darkness with, to do Psychic Assault on the next turn. So we need the Path to the Peak just to kill off the Duraludon, and they are actually playing that VMAX for this game. You'll see later that we actually got it at the right time. Fortunately, it's not that safe if you're playing up against Duraludon, but we do have that 1 path just in case. But the main reason Path to the Peak is here is just to shut down your opponent from playing any rule box abilities, because we have no Crobat, we have no Lumineon, we have no Radiant Pokemons for this deck. So that's the reason we are playing Path to the Peak. We are not playing Radiant Jirachi, no Radiant Greninja or Venusaur, nothing. Not even Alakazam. I don't think Alakazam makes sense for this deck because we're not spreading damage. It doesn't make sense for you to spread, it doesn't make sense for you to play Alakazam if you're not doing Gape Jaw or something like that. So if you do Gape Jaw though with Alakazam, you can actually kill Charizard. You can transfer the damage counter onto the active after doing Double Edge, and that's enough to kill off the active Charizard since it has only 10 HP remaining, unless if they do Heat Energy. If they play Magma Basin though, they're gonna have to punish their own Pokemon. Gape Jaw actually doesn't make sense for this deck, so that's why we play instead. You should be doing Galar Mine or Path to the Peak or Temple of Sinnoh, but since we can't do Temple of Sinnoh, since we are playing Twin Energy, we need Twin Energy, so we can't do Temple of Sinnoh. That's why we have instead our Path to the Peak. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna end the voiceover right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today we're featuring the new Krookodile from Silver Tempest with the Bully of the Sands ability to discard a random card from opponent's hand. As you evolve this stage 2 Pokemon from your hand with a Rare Candy or a stage 1 evolution, you can evolve stage by stage. We also have our Jynx to do Psychic Assault, collecting the knockout against V-Star or VMAX Pokemon after doing Double Edge with our Krookodile. We can also use Dredge Up, by the way. The stage 1 can also attack with 3 energy for 3 colorless. You get to discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. with Dredge Up. You can also use Memory Capsule for this deck, but we are playing instead our Spirit Mask to discard extra cards from our opponent's hand. If they damage our our active Pokemon with a tool card attached, they actually are forced to discard, choose one card from their hand and discard it. In addition to that, if they knock out our Krookodile, they actually have to discard a random card from their hand as well. So Krookodile's ability works twice. It works when you evolve it and also when your opponent knocks out your Krookodile in the active spot with damage from their attack. They actually have to discard a random card from their hand. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy your life.